Human cognition tries to explain cosmic consciousness, but human language fails to express it properly. It's just like mysticism. Do you know what mysticism is? Mysticism is a never-ending endeavor to find a link between the finite and the infinite. It's a never-ending process. So I was kind of happy, to read this particular line about the limitations of language. We know that, we're in the process of using language in a way to go beyond language, right? To that place where nothing needs definition anymore. But language obviously has its utilization. It's kind of a signpost to something. Just today in the afternoon, Kamala gave a really nice workshop on Qigong. We were doing some great Qigong exercises with kind of ideation and visualization. And she used a different language than our tantric language to take us to very similar places, right? So we were feeling cosmic consciousness, we were communing with the mystery of nature. And so it shows that we have to be a little cautious with language because it's embedded in a cultural or a social context. So we need to make sure that we understand what's behind the language or what the words are pointing to. We have a technique of meditation, right, that we all follow. It's given in a language, it's words, but really it only has a value if it gives us experience, right? Meditation is not just technically doing proficiently in a technique, but meditation is about feeling something very deep, right? Communing with an essential part of oneself. So the technique has value if it can take us to that place of pure first-person experience and exquisite feeling. The second passage. The entire expressed universe, as I just said, is a mesh of vibrations of different wavelengths. And these vibrational expressions emanated from the Supreme Hub, Paramapurusha. Each and every expression emanating from the Supreme Hub is certainly a divine expression. And each and every divine expression is called Deva. I've been reading about Native American Indians of late. I don't know whether you've read the book Braiding Sweetgrass, but it's really quite beautiful, actually. And coming back to language, so the native tribes don't like nouns so much. So they wouldn't describe a river as river, or waterfall as waterfall, or rain as rain. Rather, they would say that a river is water being a river, or water being a waterfall, or water being rain. So there's a difference, right, between saying river and water being a river. There's more magic if water is being a river. And if we just say river, if we're just using the noun, then we can control it more, right? We can have dominion over it as human beings. We'll dam it and we'll make like a tourist trap and we'll make money from it. But if one's seeing things in a sacred way, then it's water being a river, which in fact is what we have here. Here, it's Baba's talking about this unending process of these divine emanations expressing themselves into the world. So we wouldn't say that that's just a table. We would say that's the Supreme Consciousness expressing itself as table. We wouldn't say, oh look, there's a baby over there. We'd say that is Supreme Consciousness expressing itself as a baby, right? And so we don't want our language to be limiting, but to use it in such a way that we capture the mysteries of all that is around us. Finally, it is said that you have two eyes. One eye is your small eye. I'm going, I'm doing, I'm the owner. This eye is your small eye, and another eye is your big eye. Paramatman is your big eye. Paramatman is the eye of all the eyes. You love your small eye very much, and unknowingly you love that Paramatma more than you love yourself. You have nourished an unknown love for Paramatman and a known love for the small eye. That love for Paramatman is unknown. And when one gets initiation and does sadhana, that unknown love becomes known. So here, this passage makes me think about constellations. So we have this table here. I'm assuming it's made of wood. Let's assume it's made of wood. So this table doesn't stand alone, right? It's not an isolated entity, the table. The table doesn't exist if there aren't trees, right? I mean, trees have to produce the wood for the table. The table doesn't exist if there isn't a craftsperson to make it into a table. The table can't really exist if there's no gravity to keep it grounded to the earth. So the table is in a constellation. It doesn't exist on its own. Nothing exists on its own. Everything is relational. And so when it comes to the small eye, if you look at its constellation, we have so many memories, and we have our samskaras, and we have emotions, and we have psychological tendencies, and they're all kind of in a constellation around that one soul. So when Baba says in the very beginning here that mysticism is a link between the finite and the infinite, so we are trying to journey towards that place of soul within that is kind of the control, if you will, of all of the constellation that we are in as an individual. And maybe you've experienced when you go into that deep place of soul, things tend to get resolved. Maybe there's an issue with somebody and you're in the deep place of the soul, that issue can help to be resolved. And then through that individual soul, we go to the greater soul, the cosmic soul. And love, right? This journey is not possible if there isn't attraction of some sort. And that attraction is that deep love that we feel, that we've felt, when we are journeying towards that place of soul, when language becomes immaterial, when all that's manifested around us becomes immaterial, because we are in that sweet feeling of the inner love that then motivates us, right, to find what's behind this inner sweet feeling of love, and the journey continues. So I like the way that Baba, on the one hand, he's mentioned here that we have to be cautious with language because we cannot capture the infinite with language. And yet he's used language in a very effective way to take us to this understanding that actually through language we can go beyond it to this place of mystical love. Thank you. Namaskar.